She ruled a mighty kingdom with wisdom and grace, commanding armies and councils with a power few women in history ever held. Her throne glittered with gold, her palace stood as a marvel of architecture, and her name echoed through the lands of Arabia and beyond. Yet behind her royal image lies a mystery that has fascinated scholars and storytellers for centuries. Was Queen Bilqis, the ruler of Saba, Sheba, a mere human, or something more? Could she have been part jinn? The Quran introduces her not just as a powerful monarch, but as a woman of intellect and humility who encountered one of Allah's greatest prophets, Sulaiman. Their remarkable story, one filled with letters carried by birds, thrones transported in the blink of an eye, and a test of truth, offers spiritual lessons and unanswered questions. In this video, we'll explore the complete Quranic story of Queen Bilqis, unravel the legendary accounts of her lineage, and uncover the truth behind the claim: was she half jinn or fully human? Let's dive into this extraordinary tale of faith, power, and divine guidance. The Kingdom of Saba. The Quran introduces us to Queen Bilqis in Surah An-Naml during the story of Prophet Sulaiman, who was blessed with the unique ability to understand and control animals, jinn, and the wind. His empire was unlike any other, a divine kingdom of immense spiritual and worldly power. One day, Sulaiman inspected the birds and noticed the absence of the hoopoe bird, Hudhud. When the bird returned, it brought astonishing news. "Indeed, I found a woman ruling over them, and she has been given of all things, and she has a great throne." Surah An-Naml. The bird reported that this woman and her people worshipped the sun instead of Allah. This shocked Sulaiman, who immediately recognized that this nation was in need of guidance. The Letter of Sulaiman. Prophet Sulaiman sent a powerful letter to Queen Bilqis through the hoopoe, inviting her to submit to Allah, the one true God. "In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Be not arrogant with me, but come to me in submission." Surah An-Naml. Queen Bilqis, upon receiving the letter, did not react with pride or rage. Instead, she consulted her advisors, showing her wisdom and governance skills. Though they were ready to go to war, she preferred a diplomatic approach and decided to send gifts to Prophet Sulaiman to test his intentions. However, Prophet Sulaiman rejected the gifts. "Do you provide me with wealth? What Allah has given me is better than what He has given you." Surah An-Naml. This showed that he wasn't after power or wealth, but truly wanted to guide them to the truth. The transportation of the throne. After rejecting the gifts, Prophet Sulaiman planned to impress Queen Bilqis with a sign of divine power. He asked his court who could bring him her throne before she arrived. One mighty among the jinn said, "I will bring it to you before you rise from your place." Surah An-Naml. But then, someone described as the one who had knowledge of the book said, "I will bring it to you within the twinkling of an eye." Surah An-Naml. Instantly, the throne appeared before Prophet Sulaiman, a stunning display of Allah's power. When Queen Bilqis finally arrived and was shown her throne, which had been slightly altered, she responded intelligently, "It seems that it is the same." Surah An-Naml. She was careful with her words, neither outright denying nor arrogantly claiming to know, demonstrating again her humility and sharp mind. The Palace of Glass. To further test her, Sulaiman invited her into a palace with a glass floor that gave the illusion of water. Thinking it was a pool, she lifted her dress to avoid getting it wet, revealing her modesty and human nature. It is a palace made smooth with glass. Surah An-Naml. At that moment, realization struck her. She finally understood the greatness of Allah, the source of Sulaiman's power, and declared, "My Lord, indeed I have wronged myself, and I submit with Sulaiman to Allah, Lord of the worlds." Surah An-Naml. This moment of submission, Islam, was the highlight of her story, showing her transformation from a sun-worshipping queen to a believer in the one God. Was Queen Bilqis half jinn? Now comes the question that has intrigued many: was she part jinn? What the Quran says. The Quran makes no mention of Queen Bilqis being jinn or half jinn. She is simply referred to as a wise woman and a queen who eventually embraced Islam. Everything presented in the Quran points to her being a human monarch of exceptional intelligence. Where did the half jinn theory come from? The idea of Queen Bilqis being part jinn comes from later historical and folkloric sources, not from the Quran or authentic hadith. For example, some Jewish and Christian commentaries speculated about her mysterious origin. Certain Islamic historians and poets, such as al-Dhalabi and later storytellers, added imaginative elements to her story, suggesting she had hairy legs, which the glass palace test was supposed to reveal, and that she might have had jinn lineage. These were often attempts to explain why such a powerful woman would be mentioned in a divine book, or to exaggerate the miraculous nature of her encounter with Prophet Sulaiman. However, these are not supported by the Quran or Sahih Hadith, and are generally considered folklore or myth rather than fact. What makes her story so powerful? The story of Queen Bilqis is not about myths or magic. It is a real, divine encounter full of wisdom. She consulted her advisors before acting. Humility, she was willing to admit her mistakes and seek truth. Faith, she eventually submitted to Allah purely out of recognition of the truth, not compulsion. It also highlights the miraculous powers of Prophet Sulaiman, not for entertainment, but to demonstrate how Allah grants power to his prophets to fulfill his mission. Lessons we can learn. 1. Power doesn't equal arrogance. Despite her status, Queen Bilqis was open to truth and not blinded by pride. 2. True guidance comes from Allah. Her transformation was not due to fear but due to recognition of divine truth. 3. Prophetic wisdom matters. Prophet Sulaiman used intellect, not force, to invite people to Islam. 4. Don't believe every myth. While folklore can be interesting, the Quranic story is sufficient and more meaningful. Queen Bilqis was not a jinn. She was a brilliant and noble human queen who ruled over Saba, encountered one of Allah's mightiest prophets, and chose to embrace Islam upon witnessing the truth. Her story is not just about a historical event, it's a lesson in humility, leadership, and the journey of faith. Her legacy lives on in the Quran, not as a fantasy figure, but as a real woman who sought and found the truth. In a world full of distractions and misinformation, her story reminds us that true nobility lies in submitting to Allah, no matter how high your worldly throne may be.